All right, now, good evening, everyone. This is Curtis Traylor. All right, and we're getting ready to start doing it. All right, so here we go. Good evening. This is Curtis Traylor online, and my guest today is Mr. CC Haydel, New Orleans Bistro.
How you doing?
Uh, Here in Osaka. So, how's everybody tonight? I just want you to
There we go. All right.
Oh, we cool? All right.
Yeah, I guess we
Oh,
got
you
it.
want to get in on this, didn't you? Okay.
All
So I
right.
just want, hey, this is the owner, the one and only, Mr. CC Haydel of Bistro New Orleans here in Osaka. We've been friends for quite a long time, now, and, he was into it, before we met. He was doing his thing, and everybody was talking about him. Who is this guy? You know what I mean? They said, hey, this man's food is delicious. I said, well, where is that? I didn't even know where you were located. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? So I just want you to know this is Curtis Trail Online. Hit the likes. If you like it, check it out. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to invite all of you, but I invited a whole lot of you. Okay, so I hope that you watch it. And this is every third Friday of each month. This is my online, this is my online thing, what I like to do, and I like to invite special people like CC to come on and tell you how they started and how they are still with what they love to do. So me, just being a musician and a singer, I love doing that, and sometimes I knock myself in the head wondering why I want to stick with that. But the joy of every success that, like CC said, the joy of every success that you may have, it kind of keeps you there and makes you want to do it again. So my first question to you, how did you get started? You know what I mean? How did you get started, in your journey for owning a restaurant here in Japan? I know that that's a mouthful.
Right,
That's a
yeah.
mouthful itself. So how did you get started? Tell us
Well,
about it, man.
that wasn't the plan at first. I'm classically trained English language and literature teacher. So I came here to teach English, but turns out I'm overqualified for a whole lot of jobs.
Was
And
man overqualified?
yeah, I have a master's degree in English education.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But
But
should that help you do something?
Well, that's what you would think.
Yeah.
That's what you would think. But it got pretty frustrating. And I didn't come over here as a young person, a very young person right out of college. So it was trying. I mean, I didn't have time. I was too old to be a jet. And looking for full-time work was difficult. I tried the university route since I was certainly qualified enough for that, but finding full-time work was difficult. And again, I've been working full-time for 25 years
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
English teacher in
Yeah.
the States. So,
Yeah.
the frustration set in, but even in the States, I'd considered doing a little something with food from New Orleans when I was living in New York. Because most people from the region will tell you that once you leave the region, it's super difficult, if not impossible, to find something that's authentic.
Right.
So I just started by doing a few things at home.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, let me see if I can do this. And I would have these, I call them tasting parties.
Right.
So I knew people who had restaurants. So they were kind enough to let me use their restaurants when they were closed. So I did a few tasting parties. I'd make most of the stuff at home, and then I'd take it over to the restaurant. And it seemed to be pretty well received.
Oh man, it really has, man. I mean, up from then until now. It's even, you know what I mean. We don't get into the now part yet, because
Right.
that's in a good way because it's really growing. So but I just want you to know that you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know what I mean. So but I know this didn't this didn't come easy.
No, not at all.
Easy is not even in the repertoire.
No, not at all.
Okay, so my next question would be, if you can just so eloquently like you do, can you just tell us how, what are the challenges and go through them
Sure.
as long as it takes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Well, okay, so the first challenge is obviously finding ingredients, and I guess when you open the restaurant, you call it inventory, but even when I was doing the tasting parties, I said, where do I get these ingredients? So I had help from some friends that owned restaurants. Bunny, who doesn't have his, he's going to do something new, I would imagine at some point soon. Sang at Slices, who was very, very helpful. And so they kind of set me on a road. Okay, you can get this here, you can get this here. And so I kind of sort of muddled my way through and figured out where I could get ingredients and how I could get them. Sometimes I can't get it. If I can't get it, I won't make it.
Right.
I want to maintain a certain amount of integrity, because even in the States, where you can get almost anything that you want.
Right.
I saw even in New York where people would just not do it right. That's the best way I could put it. And I'm like, well, you have, these things available to you. But so here that was a challenge, going here and there and finding it. And this one store has this and this other store has this. Learning how to shop. So that was the first challenge, just finding out and being able to get these things consistently.
Okay, so there were more, huh?
Right. Even working around things like, I remember asking, back home, if you have a seafood monger, you can say, listen, I need shrimp shells. And they'll be like, okay, great. Here, I said, I need some shrimp shells. And they just looked at me like, why would you want that?
Are you going to go fishing for them?
Like, come on, man. Right. So I managed to work my way through those challenges. And then, again, even finding things like bones, which are difficult here because most of the food that's sold is sold not on the bone. And, bones are important for cooking and making stocks and giving flavor to certain things. So finding workarounds for those kinds of things, but still being authentic. And that was, and still is, a challenge in many cases. So that was the first thing, just finding ingredients in the inventory. The second challenge was finding staff. My Japanese is still terrible because I'm always working, but finding staff that could communicate with Japanese customers. And my wife was a big help with that in terms of the menu itself.
Right.
And finding people who, because even in the States, there are people who just don't know about New Orleans cooking. They don't know about Creole and Cajun cuisine.
Right.
Could I find somebody who could assist me in the kitchen?
Right.
Who could, if they didn't understand it, learn it?
Right.
And understand how it's unique from any other sort of American dishes. And to appreciate that so that you can make it properly.
Right.
And as far as the wait staff, it's the same kind of thing, where how do I tell the customer that this isn't, for instance, our roast beef sandwiches, we were talking about this earlier at the shop. In New Orleans, it's always a hot roast beef sandwich. It's not the cold slice thing, which isn't a bad thing at all, but it's generally what you see in Europe and most of America. If you want a roast beef sandwich, it's cold and it's sliced and it's put down.
Right.
But it's not like that in New Orleans. And so people are like, I need my staff to be able to explain to someone that this isn't something that you can get at maybe a fancy convenience store. It's not that kind of roast beef. So, and obviously the other dishes have some complexities and some differences that I need my staff to be able to articulate to customers.
Okay.
So that was the second challenge in finding people, and it still is a challenge. It's not going to go away.
That's not going to go away, man. So
right.
We'll talk about the rest of that next week.
Right.
No. But go ahead, man.
And then the third challenge, the basic challenge, is getting customers. I remember a friend of mine who I haven't seen for a million years, Gordon. He asked me. He said, so who are you going to market to And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I tell you who I won't market to. I said, I'm not going to do any sort of specific marketing towards the kind of, for lack of a better term, the salarymen that like to inhabit izakayas.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But those aren't the kind of people who are going to take that kind of leap of faith and go to some place that's inherently different and very non-Japanese.
Right.
The flavor profiles are all very, very different. And I don't think that spending an effort to get those kind of those kinds of customers into the shop,
that's true,
would just be a waste of energy. So I didn't focus. I didn't try to send them away, but I didn't focus my efforts on trying to get those kinds of customers in. Customers that, Western customers, and a lot of them don't understand the New Orleans food.
Exactly.
I've had Aussies open up my menu.
I've been there when you had to explain. You know?
Right. Oh, right. You certainly have. Right. And I've had people like Aussies open up the menu and page through it and go, I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what any of this is. I've never heard of any of this. And some people from the States also. Right?
Exactly.
Most people have heard of gumbo and jambalaya.
Exactly. Those are main. Okay.
Yeah, those are traditional kinds of things.
Dishes,
yeah. You hear those words in songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But, the other stuff is, it's just, they're like, I don't understand. What is dirty rice?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Why do you call it dirty rice?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's already
somebody asked me, they said, why do you call it dirty rice? And I go, look at it. Just look at it. Right.
It's self-explanatory to me.
Yeah.
So,
So finding people to come and trying to figure out, are they going to be regulars? Are they not? There were some Japanese services that offered, well, we can do this for you and we can do that for you. One of them in particular, I stayed away from it. I'm going to not use their name. But they wanted me to offer discounts. And I got warned off by a friend of mine who said she had a friend that had a restaurant, and he went with this service. He offered the discount. All the people that were with that service came just for the discount. He lost all of his regular customers. He's selling the food at a discount, which it's tough because the profit margins are they're not large. And when the campaign ended, nobody came back because they went to the next place that had a discount.
Oh, okay.
And I understand that from the case of, I remember when I was young, in my early 20s, and I didn't have any money, and, going to a place that had, something to offer with a discount was attractive. You're not really a full-grown adult yet because you're still trying to make things work. So
Right.
I get that. So I stayed away from that. And I went with a few other services. And they were helpful in getting some Japanese customers. And there were some people who've been to New Orleans. I had one man come in once and he says, oh my God, I lived in New Orleans 30 years ago. It was 30 years ago. Do you have gumbo? And I said, yes. And he sat down and ate the gumbo, and he just actually lived in the bowl of gumbo for about a half an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So it's good to get those kinds of folks there.
Right.
And so it's an interesting mix. I do now have some younger crowds coming in, both from the West and from and some Japanese folks too.
Speaking of that, you know what I mean. Speaking of that, I want to know. I've seen. We've talked about a few things over the years. In terms of what we go through and why we do the things we do. Why and why do we stick with it? You know what I mean. So tell me, why do you stick with this when you're more of an English teacher?
Right.
You know what I mean. That's what you're profound. But now you've become this. You know what I mean, this nice chef. You know what I mean? And you got a good place of business going. What would you do if you had to choose right now between teaching English and remaining a chef, man. And I think you're becoming successful at what you're doing right now. So what would you do if that particular choice came?
Well, it's funny you ask that because, we were talking earlier and it's almost, what day is it? How is today going or how is this week going?
Right.
There are days when teaching seems more attractive.
Right.
There are days when I'm able to, it's not just the people coming in, but the fact that I've had success in building either a new dish,
right,
or something like that,
right.
People go, oh wow, you did something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did something.
You get that
else.
a lot. You really do.
And so those are those victories.
Yes.
It's not the mundane kind of everyday thing.
Right.
Even with teaching, it's like that though, where you kind of roll through your days. And there are good days and there are bad days, but there are some really, really, really good days. When you reach a class or some kids that either have it's been difficult for any various reasons. Rather than just laying blame on in just one area where it's just either just me or just them or wherever the blame lies. But when you reach them, and that's the same as. Kind of sort of when you nail a dish.
Exactly.
And a lot of times you do it and you're alone. And those things they can be, it can be lonely sometimes when you're there.
Yeah.
And it's just you. But sometimes you need to be alone to create that kind of a thing.
You make mistakes, you know what I mean? And you're right there.
Plenty of those.
Plenty of those. You make mistakes, so you would like to be able to correct your mistake.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What's the secret? Don't serve a mistake. Don't serve a mistake.
Exactly.
Don't try to cover it up. Don't just cry, curse a lot, and throw it in the garbage.
Exactly. There you go.
You can cry, you can curse, you can do all of that thing, you can throw something, but don't serve it.
There you go.
Don't think that you can. I mean, there are people who think that, I'll doctor it up and market it as something else, and that way. I just don't think that there's not a lot of integrity there. I mean, you're an artist,
yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm not singing this. It's not ready.
Exactly. And no, it's not ready.
Come on, Curtis. Nobody will know.
Oh, I like that one line you did.
Nah,
wait a minute.
The song is not ready.
No, I'm not gonna. It's not ready, and I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
So, see, now I just want to take the time to say, hey, this place has really grown since the first time I met Cece. It has grown in so many ways. Now, not only with with the dish, the good food, and just a good place to relax, and he's got music now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got different artists coming in to showcase their talents, and believe me, he's not suffering from a lack of audience.
No, you're right.
Lately, it's just been very, very good. You know what I mean? I like to take my time, and I'll put my time in, you know what I mean? Because I think that is worthy, to come in and do a play. It's like going home and singing, so we call it BNO.
Yep.
Bistro, New Orleans, but not, a lot of artists comes in now and they do their thing, and it's a lot of fun. And what we like to do, then, we like to invite people, they eat, and they get to enjoy good live music. So, what more can you ask for, So when do you and I met, and it wasn't quite like that, right?
No, not at all. I remember when you came in and you did your show, and we did it through the house speakers, which the recorded music goes through beautifully.
Yeah, exactly.
The live music.
No, they weren't the type of speakers you need.
Right.
You needed some power.
Right.
So,
and I remember what you said. You said, I can't tell you how to spend your money, but if you want to do this, this isn't going to work. And I kind of already do, but I'm glad I heard it from a musician, right? Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. Right. Right.
Exactly.
So I got a setup, and what's interesting is that when people ask me about the music, and I go, well, it's crowded. It's not a broom closet with drinks, but it's a restaurant. So and space is limited.
Right.
But what I found out pleasantly so, because all the windows are behind you.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a really, really intimate sound there.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I was very, very pleased the first time we set up those speakers. And
Right. Right.
it just fills the room, and it's really, really nice. But it's not. People ask me, and I go, "Listen, this is not a music venue. So
Right.
not traditionally. So nobody's going to come here and get rich.
No.
No, right.
Not at all.
So I mean, there are things that I don't. I'm not a musician, or I'm not that. My art doesn't go there. So I don't control the music.
Right.
So if people want to come and experiment, they can experiment. If people want to come and do a practice for an upcoming
Event. Yeah.
they can do that. It's all up to them. I don't do the shows to make money. Any money that's donated to the musicians goes to the musicians.
Yes, true.
And I don't want to cut, and I don't want to cut because I'm not a music house.
Right.
If I was a music house, I'd have a bigger thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice space.
Yeah.
But again, referring to what I said earlier about people going with something that might be subpar, I'm like, well, I'm not going to try to be a mogul here.
Right.
You know, because that little bit of money, or so I take $5,000 off the top. Big deal.
Hey, so what?
So you make 20 for the show, and I get 5,000 yen.
Thanks
doesn't
a
make
lot.
me a mogul, right?
No, it doesn't. No, it
And I
doesn't.
think that it's kind of small minded, and in the long run, that's not what. That's just one of those things that impedes progress.
Exactly.
In the long run, if you want to think in the short run the whole time, then
That's on you.
right, yeah, that's not that. Again, that doesn't lend itself to longevity, especially with. I'm trying to create food and do different things with
You're
it.
doing what you're
Right.
doing what you're there to do.
Right.
So it's a whole different element, and I appreciate how you do handle it when it comes to our art, the musicians or whatever, because you give them a place to come to when other people they
Right.
can't find just a place to do a gig right then and there when they need to or when they really want to.
Right.
They come to you and ask you, do you have a place available? You always open up your doors, for that. And this man is beginning to be Mr. CC. He's always been, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying he's taking on a whole new level of, responsibilities in terms of what this B&O offers, So the food is magnificent. If you're ever in
Thank you.
Osaka, you got to stop at Bistro New Orleans. That's just a must, okay? I know I have to. I'm not there all the time, but I'm gonna put my time in.
You there plenty.
Yeah. Don't tell them.
All right.
Don't tell him. That's just something I thought I'd throw in. So, being from New Orleans, me being from Texas.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got the same tongue on all that. You know what I mean? When it comes to eating that type of food.
I remember do you remember when, because I remember the look on my assistant chef's face, Dan. I was developing my boudin. I said, all right, well, I'm going to try this.
Boudin, everybody.
Yeah, I got boudin. And I said, hey, Kurt, taste this. Didn't tell you what it was because I just wanted an honest reaction. And you said, wow, this is good. Tastes like boudin. And Dan almost fell out behind the counter.
I know what boudin.
He's like, he didn't know what that was. How does anybody know what that is? I said, well, no, he would know because it's spread as far as Texas.
Exactly.
But again, he's just like, because again, he's from California, so he doesn't know what any of that stuff is.
No, he was just. But you cranked him up, man. He's one of the best you got over there.
I know. I wish I still had him. Hey,
Yeah.
Dad, you can come back. You know.
Dan, we miss you, Dan. So come on back, man,
Right.
and do your thing.
Right. He does do my brunches still.
Oh, he still does it.
Yeah.
And,
But we'll talk about those brunches in a bit, I think,
Okay.
when we talk about the new stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So whenever you wanna, you want to talk about them.
Oh, all right. Well, right.
I'm gonna put the camera on you now. Tell us about them branches that we need to know about.
Right. So
All right.
I got the idea of doing brunches and not so. I do know that people, especially here, will get, okay, well, so I don't do them that often.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've done 3 relatively close together, but they're different crowds. And the brunch is always off menu. And people say, well, why? And I go, because if you want the regular food here, you can just come here at the regular hours.
Right.
Right. Why would you come here, unless you're just not that available? So what happened was when I first started, I had the first brunch. I started at 10:30, and nobody came until after 12. Mm-hmm. And then people started coming, and they realized that this was a unique thing. Mm-hmm. They would come, and then sometimes I make a little extra, and then people can have it after. Maybe I'll have a special or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, in the beginning, if I was out, and people would come on, say, the Wednesday after the Sunday, and they'd be like, you still have that? I'm like, no, that's special. That's gone. That's gone. They go, well, why not? I go, you should have come on Sunday. And those things are because this is Japan and everyone has storage issues because of space concerns. Since everything's off menu and I still have to store my regular menu, a lot of times I'm up all night making the whole thing.
Oh yeah, we talk about that
Right.
when we do get a chance, don't we? You be really tired, man.
Well, yeah, I start cooking at midnight, right?
I mean, you be starting from early morning, man, before anyone will really know what you've been up to,
Right. But it's worth it because I get to. I get to that's the creative part where I can say, okay, well, I want to do this. I want to do this a little. I want to augment this. So, I'll always do a type of a Benedict.
Right.
So, but with different ingredients. So, because anybody can do. I would imagine anybody can do eggs Benedict. But why not use? I mean, like other people do in around the world. But so I try to find unique ingredients that might reflect New Orleans or a special occasion.
Right.
And serve that with the egg and hollandaise and those kinds of things and other dishes. When we did Juneteenth, that was a representative menu. So we did things that reflected Black America and their celebrations.
I just want to know,
Sure.
have you ever thought about doing a breakfast?
Off and on.
I mean, that's kind of getting you up out of the bed.
Well,
Or if you hardly getting you into the bed.
right, yeah.
So, and I just want to let everybody. Let me see if I can, see when you see this badge right here, BNO Bistro New Orleans. Everybody, this is the proprietor. This is the owner. This is the guy who's making everybody happy when we come to Hordier. You know what I mean? Here in Osaka, we come there to have a good dish, and this sign says it all: Bistro New Orleans. BNO.
BNO.
That's what we call it. That's what
Yeah.
we gave it that name a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So BNO is what this is what we talking about. So if you're ever in Osaka, make sure you see this badge. Come on and check it out because it means everything it says. It means everything that it stands for. Bistro New Orleans. Now, where are we at, man? Okay.
But right, you asked me about breakfast, and it'd be okay if this were, if Japan was a breakfast country,
Right.
but it's really not.
It's really not, is it?
I mean, anybody who's gone to breakfast teas, well, because back home, you can go to a diner and
Right.
get a reasonably lavish
I'm serious.
breakfast at a diner.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
But here, I remember going to the Japanese style diner, and I'm like, there's like 4 choices, and I don't know if I want any of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
And at home you get more of a lavish style, serving
Right.
of anything and a big portion.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So all of that, I miss a lot of that, man. I really do.
I do. There's a few places that that are Aussies
Yeah.
will have their kind of Aussie full breakfast. Maybe there's some places that will serve, maybe a full Irish breakfast, but even that's a special occasion.
Yeah, that's on special.
And that those are similar in quantity and quality in terms of the uniqueness of the ingredients that would be kind of like a full American breakfast.
Right.
But I don't think there's a market for that, because there's, that's the one unfortunate thing about business is that, well, if there's nobody's coming,
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And yes, people have to want to come. Even the brunch now has become more popular, but I'm still not going to try to do that, especially as often as I've done the last few.
Oh, okay.
Again, because people get of the mindset, they go, well, okay, because this is also, New Orleans is a drinking town. Well, it's a city of excess, so there's eating, drinking, yeah, right. But people will get up and they'll go, okay, well, I got to go to brunch, and you show up at brunch and you hungover or still drunk, and you work your way through brunch.
And believe me, they do.
Yeah, you've been there enough times.
Yeah,
to
they even find enough time because they think that's gonna make them,
right,
come back.
But I think that people here aren't necessarily used to that. In some ways, they'll go out on a Saturday planning to go to brunch the next day, and they just, okay, well, I'll bow out. It's because maybe it's something that, well, I was only going with a few people. And the other reason that I guess is, and I'm kind of switching gears a little bit here, is the reason I do the unique brunches is this. You can go to brunch at a hotel here. And it can be reasonably inexpensive. And you'll have the omelet station, which is never that good.
Right.
It's just nice watching somebody do all the work, but it's really not that good. I mean, and it's not necessarily the omelet chef's fault.
Right.
They just kind of they're waiting there and they go, okay, well, I want a ham and cheese omelet. And they just, but it's just not unique. And it doesn't cost a lot. The hotel has, resources.
Right.
But it's nothing special, other than the fact that they have drinks at, drinks before noon.
Right.
So, and in the States, that's a big thing. And even in New Orleans, where you can get alcohol 24/7, brunch is still special because now I'm drinking,
it really is.
and I'm eating something special.
It really is. And just the word brunch, man, gets a lot of people out of their beds. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially for where we come from. That's just as good a place as any to meet.
Yeah.
If you ain't drunk, if you're not drunk.
Well, I mean, if you're falling down drunk, then maybe you shouldn't go to brunch.
Maybe you shouldn't go to brunch, man.
Right.
You go in there to eat and maybe get into a fight.
I've seen people stagger into a brunch in New Orleans. I'm like,
Oh,
wow.
well, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. Everybody.
Well, usually those cats, they just leave him by a table and be like, he's just here because he got to be here, right?
Exactly.
All right, Juan. Yeah, you just stay over there, right? He's here though. He made it, right?
Exactly.
Nobody can complain. I will say that I've had some pleasant surprises at brunch. The last time we had people waiting outside, which is great.
That's when you here, huh?
Yeah.
That's what.
And that's good. And that's that's when you wish you had more space.
Right.
But there's always that dilemma. You want more space, but then when nobody's there, it just happens to be those nights where, just nobody's there. And you're like,
everybody goes through that. You know what I mean? And that's when you find out that really finds out if you got to go on it to get up and still fight, for what you love.
I tell you something, man. Sometimes, how can I put it? There are nights when like I've had, one customer, or two customers, and even though you're really not making anything, a zero night, boy, that's a soul sucker. Just like, oh, nobody came, and you don't know what anybody's doing, so it's not as if,
So that was what I'm saying. What you're saying is very true. But I want to let everybody know I'm talking to CC Haydel. Do we say Haydel?
Haydel.
It's Haydel. CC Haydel. The proprietor of Bistro, New Orleans, a home away from home for me. So you know what I mean. I go see my buddy, and we sit down, we talk about things while I'm eating some of the best food in the world. So I just want everyone to know that CC is one of the best people. Just one of the best people I know here in Japan.
Well, thank you.
Overall Japan. So, and I just and with that being said, I want to let everybody know that where I am tomorrow. Let's see this, tomorrow, next Saturday, and next Saturday after that. I'm at the Conrad Osaka with saxophonist Reese Gray. From starting every Saturday night from 8 o'clock to 10:30. So, Conrad Osaka is such a beautiful place. Up on the 40th floor, and this is where we have a good time. People come out. People are starting to come back from the Corona thing. Corona set a lot of stuff aside, but a lot of people are coming back. So, and I want everyone, if you got a night that you want to spend in a nice, lavish, luxurious kind of place, 40 floors up off the first, come on. Well, that'd be 41 floors, right? So right. I'm afraid of 41. 40 floors up. So please come on to Conrad Osaka, and Reese and I start at 8 o'clock, and we go until 10:30. We hope to see you. We've seen a lot of good friends come there, so
it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful place. So want to thank you right now. So right now I'm gonna get back to Mr. CC Haydel. So this guy has an interesting life that he's led. So now, and after we finish this, I'm going over there and eat some food. Okay, so I can't be this close to B&O and not have nothing, and it ain't closed. So let me just say so, man. So after this, you got to rush on back and get with your people. Right.
Well, there's a couple of people that are coming to meet me, and
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it'll be the first time.
Is Amp in tonight?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah. He is. Amp make it worth going.
Yeah, he does. He's a great talent.
He's a great talent, man. He just got skills. That's a good one to have, man. Him and Dan working together.
Yeah, they work the brunches together a lot. So then I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. So
when I go, hey, this is what we're serving for the brunch. Go.
And I got to tell you, man, you're not just a boss, man. You're loved by everybody that comes into that place.
That means a lot.
You know what I mean? You're loved by, and they don't mind showing you. So not like that. So because he must be doing something right.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? So I'm happy to know that I'm a part of B&O, and I always like to give a shout out every time I do a show to the owner, Jaja.
Yeah.
Jaja has always, supported me, even when I be messing up 100 miles an hour sometimes. So he's always right there, you know what I mean, to help me keep going, man. I love this. I love doing this, I love doing this thing. So every third Friday, CT Online, you know what I mean? So I hope you're looking at my Facebook page, and I hope that you're checking it out. And this is this volume 10, if in case I didn't say that, volume 10, man. So that's been 10 times this year I've been doing this. And I tell you what, all of them haven't been easy.
No.
Matter of fact, most of them,
Right.
most of them haven't been easy. So I want to give a shout out to my sister Carolyn Traylor. Give a shout out to Brandy. Give a shout out to Ernestine. Give a shout out to Melvin. And I just give a shout out to Ruby. And I just want them to, those of them, you know, besides Brandy, my daughter. So, but my siblings, you know, I have to give them a shout out. And give a shout out to my hometown, Greenville, Texas. That's where I was born and raised. And I have to, you know, let you know that I love you, even though I'm far away from you. But first chance I can get to come home, and I hope I'm standing upright.
Right,
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You hear that, Emily? So I just want everyone to know that I'll be doing this every third Friday, you know, of the month. So, and I'm going to keep this, you know, just keep you posted on what we're doing, how we're doing it. And I want to thank you. And so another thing that I just want to kind of let you know about is, you know, so see this going to be my first with these, you know, with these musicians, you know what I mean? This is going to be my first live doing all of my original songs. And it's going to be at Bonds Rosary in Kyoto on October 15. October 15, Bonds Rosary, Kyoto. Me and my band, the CT Connection, will be live doing original Curtis Traylor originals. So I hope that you're there. I hope that you're there to come and witness a good night of music, of some that you haven't heard, and some that you may heard me whistle on now every now and then. So and I'm going sooner or later. Yeah. I'm gonna be back at BNO too. We haven't decided. I haven't talked to the boss yet. So we always figure something out.
Always.
So but anytime you see a live going on at BNO, you should go, because it's a lot of fun. No matter who's playing there, it's a lot of fun, and they got the best boss in the world.
Thank you.
Yes, I must tell you that. So with that being said, let me get back to my buddy. He's gonna, you know, tell us some more. He's gonna talk a little bit more about what's going on. And my questions to you: what do you see BNO going from here?
Well, my vision is that we have more than one spot. Mm-hmm. I would like a spot that's larger, so that we can have more live. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be opposed to having another spot where it'd be smaller, where maybe I would not have entertainment, but maybe another place in Osaka that would have kind of like a stop in.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, well, I'm over here.
Yeah.
You know, say you're in Umeda.
Uh-huh.
You know, and you're like, all right, well, my show is over here at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I'm going to stop in over here and get a bowl of gumbo. Right. Yeah. Get some shrimp creole. Yeah. You know, get some staples. Yeah. You know, I can't make it all the way to Horier and then make it home.
Right. You know, those somewhere in places that is available to them.
Right. So I'd like to be able to do something like that. Mm-hmm. As far as expanding beyond Osaka, that's also a possibility. You know, when I develop recipes and the like, you know, I try to keep all of that in mind. Mm-hmm. So I try to keep them as standard as possible in terms of, so that when other people need to be able to do them, I'm like, okay, I've set this up for you. I'm setting you up for success. Yes. And those things are important. But it's also important that we have it's still got to be authentic. It's still got to feel like home. You know, in New Orleans, we have what they call the great restaurants, which are, you know, the white tablecloth, you know, and then we have what we're called neighborhood restaurants, which in and of themselves are great restaurants. Mm-hmm. So I take that back. The other ones are known as the grand restaurants,
Right,
like Antoine's
right,
and
right,
Brennan's and
right.
Commander's Palace.
Right.
And those places are wonderful. Now, the neighborhood restaurants can be just as great and just as inventive, but they tend to be in neighborhoods. They tend to be a little smaller.
Right.
Some of them have tablecloths and some of them don't.
Right.
But they serve, in many cases, they serve some interesting things, and they also serve some home favorites. And I model my restaurant after those.
Right.
I'm not looking for a giant dining room at this point. And a giant, well, because it's Japan. So,
Right.
but I do model it after those kinds of restaurants where people go in and they want to be comfortable.
Exactly. So you have that vision, right?
Yes. And again, it goes back to those challenges you said at the beginning, where if I go someplace else, how do I get my inventory? How do I find some staff? How do I get people to go?
There you go.
And those things are,
and they're not as easy as we can talk about it all day. That's not easy, man. And I've seen it a point when you've been in between.
Yeah.
Right. Employees. So and that's not an easy thing, man.
No, it's not.
And I've watched you, and it's like you always find a way. It seems like, it just
Right.
if when you're on the outside looking in, you know what I'm talking about. When you're on the outside looking in, you don't see the things that people go through when they're trying to keep what they have and trying to expand on what they have.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can say how easy you think it is, or you would have done it like this.
Right. Yeah. Well, I would have done.
This is what I would have done. Well, you're not there. This is not your place.
Well, I think, and there's things that, and I was warned by, again, Will Bunny, who's, been a pro longer than all of us.
Right.
And he just said, and I think it's true of anything worth doing, is that no matter how much you know, there's a lot you don't, and there's a lot you learn.
That's true.
And just some of those little things,
Exactly.
something that doesn't even have anything to do with food.
That's true.
When my staff says, we need 100 yen coins, and I just want to just scream. Just that. Like, really, that's the problem?
That's a big point.
But those
man.
little things are just...
Exactly. They add up, man.
So now I got to, you have to worry about that, and you have to worry about these other things.
Exactly.
Is the floor clean? Is just,
all the little things that's going to matter in the long run. Mm-hmm. So, and you can't think of all of them. And it's good to have someone around you that, that can think of certain things that you know what I mean? So, it goes the same way with what we do too, man. Art is art.
You're right. Yeah.
Art is art, no matter what form it's in. Mm-hmm. So everybody's got their own way of doing something. And I like what you're doing, man. You keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So I'm glad that you could be on this show.
I'm glad you had me. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
And we're gonna, we're gonna do it again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna do, because you're gonna keep growing. I'm gonna keep growing. So we, if nothing else, man, I just like to come by and just have how I do it.
Yeah.
I come in and you come and get your corner seat.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we have our conversation.
Yeah.
And little sis be over there sometime.
Right.
What I mean? And love you too. So I just want, and another one big shout out. My one and only brother left. Man, I come from a family of, it was 5 brothers roaming around.
Wow.
Only one left. Melvin Traylor, hey man, more power to you, man. Keep the Traylor name strong, all right? So I just want to say that to you. Love you, big bro. And so we're going to get ready, and we're going to, just come to an end very soon. And we both got to go back to what we do.
Right. Yeah.
Got to let CC
back to
go.
work.
As bad as I hate to see CC go, I know he's got to.
Yeah, I got to.
So, and I just want everyone to know, every third Friday of each month, CT Online. So we want you to come through. Take a listen. Blacken Radio. So it's Blacken Streams. Come and check out my Facebook page, and just keep listening to my music. So we want you to just keep doing all of that. You know what I mean? Everybody that loves going to BNO in Osaka, keep coming, keep making it grow. We can't grow without you. Okay,
yeah, we're looking for you.
We'll be looking for you. CC Haydel. I just call him CC. So hit him up at his last name. That's just like, but I love him enough. I love him enough to say CC Haydel.
I appreciate that.
So hey man, thanks a lot for being on.
Hey man, thank you for having me always.
All right, so we're gonna end this by just giving each other a bump, just like that. Right. And everybody, take care of yourself. It ain't over until it's over. Okay, so we're gonna until then. We're going to say, take care, bon voyage, and this is CT Online. This is Curtis Traylor, and we're going to keep moving it. See you next month, okay? Take care of yourself. Coming from the Blacken radio station, Shinsabashi, okay?